I mean, AI, I'm very surprised that in 20 minutes of episode, we haven't talked about AI yet. So I
Right?
was like,
That
what?
was like
Exactly.
amazing job. No AI until now. And I was like
Yeah,
thinking,
right,
maybe I should
exactly.
not mention AI and we should finish this podcast without an AI. But anyway, go
No,
on.
but of course, of course.
Hi, everyone. Welcome in another episode of our podcast. Today we have Carmelo with us. He's joining from his hometown in Sicily, but normally we met here in Barcelona in an event. I think he'll tell more about what he will doing, but first of all, welcome Carmelo. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much, Barry. It's always nice to see connection coming to something bigger, and I'm very happy to be here as well.
Thank you. Agreed. Would you like to tell a bit about what you do in life in general?
Yeah, so as you already said, probably the audience would might spot my Italian accent across the way. I'm from Italy. I'm from Sicily actually. I'm now based in Barcelona for the past 5 years, more or less. Same time that I have been actually working as a PMM, product marketing manager. I am focused mostly on SaaS, so software as a service platform, mainly for the B2B audiences. We will touch base on B2C, B2B2C maybe later. Who knows? I also worked a bit there. My path was a bit, let's say, having some poses or let's say some spin-offs, as I like to call it them. I started as a sales for very few time. Then I pivoted immediately to product marketing. That is also my background, what I studied, master's and my university. And I also touched base a bit on growth. And I'm back on full-time product marketing manager again, which is actually what I love the most. And so this is why also I'm very happy to be here talking about it.
Great. Congratulations, first of all. Can you tell us a bit more? Because even for me, although I've been in this marketing world for some time, it gets a bit confusing between, like performance marketing, growth marketing, then you have product marketing. How do you separate these roles? Like why, for example, for you, product marketing is the main thing that you want to focus on?
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting question that I would have loved to hear the answer 5 years ago when I start working. To be honest, let's say the common definition of product marketing is that we are the connection between the customers and the product and everything that is in the middle. Everything that is in the middle means literally the entire company. I personally love it because you get to have the best of both worlds, I would say. You get to be a nerd when it comes to understanding the deepness of the product, speaking to developers, understanding with the product manager what was the view behind that feature, that part of the product and everything. But you also get, let's say, funny and more also social parts where it comes to interviewing customers, speaking to sales, getting to know feedback from customer success. So we literally have a combination of skills and combination of roles that makes your day-to-day very, very different from one day to another, which this is something that I was very clear to myself, knowing myself a bit. I knew that my days couldn't look the same all the time. So product marketing definitely has the variety of scope that allows you to from one place to another. And so, yeah, allows you actually to connect what the customer wants or desires with what the company is building and make it, let's say, connected together. So the so-called feedback loop. So that's more or less what product marketing does. Very, very high level, I would say.
So basically you're working with nearly every team in the company, especially in a B2B SaaS. You're like in touch with developers, in touch with product team, in touch with salespersons, clients, everyone. Am I understanding
Exactly.
right?
I mean, basically. Yeah.
All right. And I would love to understand in a role like this, how do you actually like measure the impact of marketing?
In general, I would say that it always depends. This is probably a cliche answer. But when it comes to product marketing, the myth that is around us is the fact that we don't have or we don't own main KPIs as a function. Because as I was describing at the beginning, like just a moment ago, you can see that we are very spread across the entire flow from developing to go to market to sales to churn everywhere, basically. It doesn't mean that you need to do everything at once or you are alone. Most of the time we talk about solo PMM. So most of companies usually have one or maximum two PMMs. Now we're getting better and better. There is more offering on this side. But let's imagine that you usually are one person doing a lot of things, which I've done for the first couple of year experience that I had. And I have clear examples of where I could measure my success. And
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a co-owned metric with the team that you are working together mostly for a certain project. So it depends. I would say, for example, it comes to opening a new market, targeting a new customer, deep diving on a segment that you already have, but you want to understand if you can actually unlock more revenue on those,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to retain churn on a specific segment. Of course, these can translate in business metrics, especially when your company has OKRs. You can really easily, let's say, map where PMM can contribute. So depending on the projects, we can co-own different metrics together
Mm-hmm.
with the other main stakeholders, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Probably something that PMM would be more accountable for could be qualitative metrics. And our function usually, let's say, always struggles to how to make qualitative metrics quantitative, which
Mm-hmm.
might sound weird, might sound complex. I'm not gonna lie, it is. But with the right process in place and with the right kickoff meetings, with the right people and the right processes, you can actually make PMM
Mm-hmm.
function owning KPIs.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I always thought, as you said, PMM as more of a, you know, like an assisting role where, for example, a sales team has a KPI or like a product team has a KPI, let's say churn rate decreasing, you know, and PMM is kind of helping them achieve that goal. But from what I understand, what you're saying is that there are some cases where PMMs can actually have their own KPIs tracked as well, right?
Correct. That's correct. I would probably make you two examples that made it even
Mm-hmm.
clearer to understand. So lately, but in general, during my experiences, I've been also working closely to growth, where usually it's where you have more business metrics that are easier
Mm-hmm.
to analyze. Let's say what I've done in my previous experiences were to understand from, for example, the main KPIs that was asked sales to, of course, analyze was new MRR. Easy,
Mm-hmm.
everybody can resonate with that. Everyone wants new MRR, right? And myth again is like we don't want to know from where it comes from. As long as you get new
Mm-hmm.
MRR, we're gonna be happy. That's the part where PMM actually can help. First, you figure it out what the funnel might look like together with the growth,
Mm-hmm.
but also you understand what the success of that client can be before entering the pipeline and what would be inside the platform. For example, if you have a platform for hosting webinars like the one we are using right now, what you might want is to have people joining this software, buying this software that actually streams for X amount of time. So you have an
Mm-hmm.
ideal customer profile in mind. And so PMM helps you scoping what's the segment that might stream X amount of time a month. And then after the client gets signed for sales, if that
Mm-hmm.
customer actually streams the amount of times the PMM forecasted at the beginning, that can be the product market fit, the ideal customer profile fitting that we were looking for. It's a mix of quantitative and qualitative metrics that combined together can give you actually more forecasted revenue for people who actually perform better from sales point of view. So you're unlocking good MRR, might reduce churn, might increase upsell, and at the same time, this research was backed up in at the beginning of the funnel, so at the beginning of the pipeline, which helps you understanding better, what the quality of the leads is. And indeed,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. Please go on. Yeah.
No, I was just saying that one of the biggest, in my opinion, tool and let's say approach that PMM might underevaluate together with sales is having a good lead scoring. And good lead scoring doesn't mean only when it comes inside and what the lead behave inside the pipeline. So when it's still with sales, but also how the leads evolves once they close won the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably where PMM can contribute together with sales and the growth function and understanding better than each of that stage of the lead scoring. It's a metric that PMM can own, for example,
Yeah.
depending on the case.
Yeah, like what I'm thinking is that once you set that up, you can also feed like the growth team, for example, to like for them to have like a better, let's say, ROI or like better leads targeting or whatever, because you have a better scoring. That's really interesting. And like, I mean, we're talking, of course, mostly in a B2B SaaS environment, but I also would love to understand like it's a competitive market. There are so many B2B SaaS tools. Like even the one like we're talking about, let's say webinars. There are so many tools in the world right now. How do you like market or like how do you approach the marketing in a competitive field like B2B SaaS?
So I would try to go away from what is already available, let's say, in terms of knowledge, in terms of like, you should need to understand, you need to double down on the two things that already work and understanding why they work. Of course, that's, let's say, the bare minimum that if you have a feature that is top notch, you should always double down. But then, as you said that, right? How do I get myself to be the go-to platform for X, right? So in that case, the most important part is to add a sentence to what we're having in mind. What's the best platform to do this for who? Because most of the time you want to have for everyone. Spoiler, it won't work. It won't work because you need to start from one point and then understand what can actually be scaled on the other parts. And in my
Yeah.
opinion, it's crazy important because it's true that short-term success might definitely be important, especially for smaller startups who have investors, who have funds behind them. But it's definitely clear to have this view very secured in your, let's say, entrepreneurial mind and say, okay, I need to first prove it that I'm so good at this segment, raise at that moment, and then actually expand to that segment, And this is probably where I would start, at least. That could
Yeah.
be a differential point.
I mean, you're explaining in such a way that like it can be even like like PMM, like a product marketing in general, can even play a role in, a startup's literal growth strategy, like even with raising money, etc., it makes a lot of sense. One thing that you said while explaining is it has really stuck with me. Like you cannot have a tool for everyone. You need to understand your audience, etc. But as you know, for example, for salespeople, they want to sell as much as they can. So sometimes they also want to sell to people. Maybe your product is not the ideal one. Have you been in these situations where they want something, but you know what the product can do? So you have like a dispute or like a fight with the sales team. Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Yeah, I have been all the times. It's something that I feel like I was sales first. So, and
Yeah.
also the important part is that to me, everybody should at least experience the four phases in a company to understand, put really yourself in their shoes, because when it was the 27th of the month, you need to reach your quota and there is anybody coming to you and they said, oh, but actually works perfectly to me and it's completely the opposite of the ICP, you would sign them. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
right? I would say that in these cases, a good head of sales, once we were very in good symphony, and I got involved in the how to make sales bonus system forecasts, was a very nice experience to me, because it's usually something that would involve the head of PMMs or VP of marketing, function, and I was a solo PMM, so it was only me, myself, and I. So okay, let's consult
Yeah.
the PMM, which I was extremely great for. I was super excited to be there. And since churn was also a huge problem, guess why? We actually agreed to have like a compensation and the bonus based on the ICP profiles. So what it was, we were serving tons of ICPs, okay? We were having 9 ICPs already. So the list of clients that the salespeople could sign were already, in my opinion, too generous, I would say, in terms of
Yeah.
ICPs.
I would say like maybe 2 or 3, with the
Yeah,
ICPs.
yeah,
So 9
exactly.
is.
So we compromised a lot already because, of course, the ICP were very detailed in terms of sizing, different industry, different scenarios. The platform, in my opinion, was already in a good evolution stage where you can actually market that. And we had like solution pages, like the website was also conveying trust to those 9 people, which made sense to us to have those 9. Of course, some were converting better, lower, but out of those 9 types we were having and signing people were completely off the types. So what we agreed on doing was basically if you sign more than X amount of leads that are outside of these 9 classification, those won't count on your external bonus, your extra bonus. These actually, like, especially because then there was also the churn considered inside the bonuses, which was not my decision. I was not involved in this, but he actually kind of educated sales to understand whether it was worth it also from them, from their point of view, to sign a person and a client that end up actually churning 2 months after. And
Yeah.
this actually makes me think about an important point, which is internal alignment, because everything, in my opinion, gets to the point where if you have a common ground shared among different functions and you actually have a top-down management that conveys the same values, then these can be limited. But there are ways where PMM can be involved in processes and help them shape
Yeah,
these.
I think it's like you're in a really good point. Like, I think I wish everyone had like a rotation just for some time. Like, product team becomes sales team starts coding for some reason, like to really understand how people work. Because what you said is true. Like, if you have a sales manager that is pushing you to reach your quota, or like your salary is connected to your quota, sometimes that becomes your number one priority. So the rest is forgotten. You don't care about churn. You don't care about like if the customer's unhappy, branding, marketing, you don't care about anything, or the vice versa. So I think like these roles, like I think in like marketing growth or like PM, like in general, has that value of also inlining everyone into the same, let's say, level. So you can actually talk about the same metrics. You can really understand. I think it's easy when the team is smaller, but once you start getting bigger and bigger, it gets really complicated in the environment.
Is true. Is definitely true. And to be honest, there was one time where we were very close in one of the first companies where I worked. Intern got the possibility, like you get a sales intern, okay? But since you were an intern and they were fostering like the intern to full-time employee position, they were giving them the possibility to spend X amount of hours. Now I don't remember what's what was the amount in different departments. And this actually decreases a lot the time of hiring, decreases a lot the turnover of the employees, because you actually get experience what you're actually good at and you like. So you're less
Yeah.
willing to change job or to look for another job. It's just a investment that we are too
It's
busy to look.
a
No?
Yeah, it's a great talent management system. But I
Yeah.
want to also get your opinion on, I mean, what we were talking is really nice, but as you know, now we're in an age of AI. Too classic now, but that's the fact. And things have gotten faster. Like, everyone is moving faster, your competitors are faster, your like clients or potential leads are faster. What do you think, like, how the marketer's job has changed lately with AI? Do you think it's easier? Do you think it's harder? Where are you standing?
I mean, AI, I'm very surprised that in 20 minutes of episode, we haven't talked about AI yet. So I
Right?
was like,
That
what?
was like
Exactly.
amazing job. No AI until now. And I was like
Yeah,
thinking,
right,
maybe I should
exactly.
not mention AI and we should finish this podcast without an AI. But anyway, go
No,
on.
but of course, of course. I would say that yeah, AI is definitely something that entered literally without knocking at my door inside my job, inside my day to day.
Mhm.
Especially right now in the current company where I am, we are heavily using AI not only in our product but also in internal processes everywhere. So I'm very happy, to be honest, to be in this position, to get to experience this change in my first hands. So very, very happy. I would say that fast is not always the key to when approaching like AI, because literally what it was like 3 weeks ago, we were running a new campaign, we were opening a new vertical, and we needed evidences that our product could actually make sense for that segment, and we needed to test it, we need to interview clients, we need to build customer stories, something that literally 3 years ago would have taken 1 quarter, literally. I did it in 1 week, but it was not the time like to be like, it was not the concept, it was faster. It unlocked me the possibility to do, instead of one customer interview, 5 customer interview. So like the quality of the result is exponentially higher. I get to understand all the possible channels, like the distribution and everything, in a way that previously would have taken me so much. And now what I'm trying to say is like, I got this raw data in hours or days, but I still spend what I would spend 3 years ago in research and strategy, but now with
Mm-hmm.
thousands of more inputs points, which made, of course, the result of the campaign, in my opinion, better. Because, of course, if before I was, let's say, doing my job guessing on 3 data points, now I was guessing, but with 30 data points. So, of course, the guess is more accurate. It's not anymore a guess, it's a more or less a prediction. So, definitely, AI is helping a lot. Everything depends on the level of maturity in which you are as a marketer, and you know how to use AI, and what the
Mm-hmm.
company is allowing you to do, and what they're
Yeah.
ready to accept or not AI outputs as well. So here is more
Yeah,
of
yeah,
a
yeah.
responsibility matter and thing that, of course, plays all the difference.
Yeah, I think it's, to be honest, for us as well, I think there is like an exponential use as well. AI has been around for some time, but I can see how in the team as well, or like in the company, we're just using AI as like a simple chatbot, like just asking questions, getting answers. And suddenly now you have like agents, people using it, 5 different agents to do a job, like to, as you said, one doing research, one just like exponentially increasing the amount of workload that they can bring out. And I also like a huge believer in like, if you can do things right, you can get a lot out of it and faster, which is, for me, it's like still a dilemma, like it's faster, but it doesn't mean that we work less. We still work a lot, but we do much more, which is like, I don't know where it's going to go, but
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where it is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Carmelo. It has been great. And there's this one question that we ask everyone, which is, what has been inspiring you lately in your life?
I would say that it's I'm always looking for inspiration everywhere, anytime, because I'm an unstoppable mind.
Hmm.
And connected to what we were saying at the beginning, probably it's not time to say a bit more about myself. We're working together with other two friends of mine to TMC, the marketing crew.
Hmm.
And it's actually one of the events where we met, and gathering people, because I now work remotely. So gathering people from different scenarios, actually having the possibility to chat with them in a more pure way, like this is what really inspires me every day, to see also what other people are doing, what are other, like, especially now with AI, that everybody is like either lost at the same time as you, but you never have the
Yeah.
same space in a safe place where you can actually talk about it in a, let's say, a petit committee kind of environment. It's actually very inspiring, because you feel less alone in this moment of
Hmm.
age changes. So this is definitely, and of course, now I switch from LinkedIn to another Substack, so to Substack, and there
Oh,
I am.
nice.
Yeah, I'm actually evaluating again LinkedIn now that he released the, it feels like AI's lock button. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's such a good button.
Exactly. But I was so tired of LinkedIn inspirational posts that were like, girl, like, I can see it's AI, so I'm sorry, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
spend
yeah,
my time
yeah.
there anymore. So in there, I've been finding some inspirational posts and content. So yeah, real life and real experiences, both on offline and online. Let's say this is where I try to feed myself and my curiosity.
Nice. Thank you, Carmelo, for joining and sharing. It has been great. Wishing you an amazing summer in Sicily, and see you around. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me the possibility. It was a pleasure. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Ciao.